Climate change and global warming. Let's start by defining what climate change is. Climate change indicates the long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns. It's related to global warming, but isn't the same thing. Global warming is defined by National Geographic as the long-term warming of the planet's overall temperature. It's caused by many things. Climate change can have two types of causes. Natural causes like volcanic eruptions, the sun's activity, or the Earth's natural different climate periods, or it can be due to anthropological activity, which has been the main driver since the 1800s. Since this period, we can notice gradually increasing temperatures, which we call global warming, for example due to the burning of fossil fuels. Considering the last 3 decades, not many actions have been taken to combat the climate crisis in the US. These are the main decisions taken by US presidents regarding climate pledges. In 1992, President George Herbert Walker Bush signed the UFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, thus agreeing to work towards reducing carbon emissions to prevent dangerous anthropogenic interference with the climate system. In 1997, President Bill Clinton agreed to the Kyoto Protocol and agreed to cut greenhouse gases 7% below 1990 levels. Unlike other countries, the US wasn't legally bound to it because the Senate hadn't approved it. Just 4 years later, in 2001, President George Walker Bush declared that the US would in fact not be taking part in the Kyoto Protocol. In 2015, President Barack Obama committed to cutting down emissions by 26 to 28% under 2005 levels by 2025, in accordance with the Paris Agreement. Unfortunately, only a couple of years later, in 2017, President Donald Trump decided to withdraw from the Paris Agreement. In 2021, President Joe Biden rejoined the Paris Agreement with one of the most ambitious goals. In fact, he pledged to cut emissions down by 50 to 52% by 2030. Which brings us to now. Even though President Biden has committed to many positive projects to make America more eco-sustainable and reinstated various federal environmental regulations, on March 13th this year, the Willow project was approved. This project entails the extraction of around 600 million barrels of oil from the Willow Reserve in the National Petroleum Reserve, Alaska. The oil extracted will release the equivalent of 250 million metric tons of carbon dioxide in the environment, among other greenhouse gases. This project will ensure a good supply for energy in America, but it is extremely damaging to the environment, so many people are against it. In my opinion, to protect the environment, environmental education should be taught. There should be regulations and projects approved that focus on the environment itself and not only on personal economic interest. More attention should be paid to the production of clean energy, or instead, the research and production of clean energy using carbon dioxide to get closer to net zero. Some action needs to be taken to close the price gaps between the cost of normal products and eco-sustainable ones. This gap is called green premium. The entire concept of green premium is explained in detail by Bill Gates in an article, which will be listed in the description below, along with all the other sources used for this video.